Saturn, the black sun or shadow aspect of our world. The longer the shadows can keep our minds in darkness, the more control they can enact upon us. Once we fully awaken to our true nature, we shall become a force to be reckoned with. We all must know darkness before we can comprehend our own light. There are things in this world that we need to know, but it has been systematically removed from our collective consciousness by thousands of years of wars between dark and light forces. There is a very dark agenda afoot, and as players of this unique game of hide and seek, we must fully awaken to our true nature and fast. To start off, we need to restore some key knowledge to comprehend what planets truly are. They are not the depictions made in a Hollywood movie set, nor studied in a fake NASA laboratory staged as a movie set. They are energetic lights that are singing our existence into being. They are us, and we are them. You can find them in your natal chart, aka the zodiac, which will tell you the character you came to play in this grand scheme of things. NASA was formed from Nazi scientists after World War II in Operation Paperclip. In Hebrew, the letter S is pronounced SH. Now let's look at the Hebrew definition of the word NASA, pronounced as Nasha, just to gain more clarity on our study of Saturn as a living energy. This is on BibleHub.com. Nasha, to beguile, deceive. Come deceitfully, deceived, deceived, deluded, utterly deceived. Here's Saturn and his visage. Saturn is known by many names: Kronos, Father Time; Satan, Elyon, the Grim Reaper; the Sandman, ruler of Dreamland; Hand of Death, Moloch; Shaitan, and many others. Different cultures bring about a colorful array of names through different languages and time periods. In modern times, he's depicted in many movies as the evil villain. You know, Lord of the Rings, Sauron, and Darth Vader. Many movies. Coincidentally or not, cell phone towers resemble villain Sauron's symbolism. The god of the Israelites is El Elyon, also known as just El, aka Satan, who is Saturn, lord of the material plane, called Earth, and ruler of death and the underworld. El, deity, father of heaven; Saturn, his major son, Hadad, father of earth; Jupiter, are symbolized both by the bull, and both wear bull horns on their headdresses. In Canaanite mythology, El builds a desert sanctuary with his children and his 2 wives, leading to speculation that at one point El was a desert god. A bull is symbolic of Taurus, all things of earth, aka the material plane. That's why they put it in our faces. Here's El, personal name of the deity El, common name, a god. El, the god of Israel. Saturn's color is anything black. Some of his attributes are anything stinky, dirty, dark, decaying, dead, and hidden. Another attribute of Saturn is anything square, rectangular, cube-shaped, because his energy equates to space and time in Platonic solids. Space and time equate to all things of the material plane. Here's Saturn worship, cube worship, 8 points of time and space. You know, the Ouroboros, or infinity. Yes, this is part of our world. Food for thought. We have always referred to the areas around our world as space. Why is it now being used only to describe some place out there somewhere? It's time to question everything we've been told. How many cube shapes can you find in the world? They're pretty much everywhere. We have grid patterns that look like computer technology with our cars and how we funnel our chi energy through all of these grid lines, moving as we move through space. We co-create this reality with our energetic waveforms. There are pretty much cubes in all aspects of our world. Our homes are cube-shaped. All buildings are mostly cube-shaped, especially the ones of the corpse orations. Cars are cube-shaped, basically, in their forms. Also, microchips and technology. Computers, especially D-Wave, the quantum computer system that we are now about to be involved with our mind. Square, the symbology is everywhere. Symbolism is literally everywhere in our face about the energy of Saturn. Time is Saturn's currency as we spend our time here to learn important lessons. Anywhere you see a reference to time, it's a mention of Saturn's reign. Like Times Square or TikTok, time itself, you know, on the clocks, and then, of course, the sands of time. How much time do we spend on the Saturnian devices that now dominate our society? Time is the only true current C in the universe. Do you waste your time or do you spend it wisely? Are you constantly giving your consciousness away into a device that is Saturnian? We are unknowingly a part of the ritual to assist in bringing in Saturn's energy, since we all co-create this existence together. This is why it's called the universe. It is one voice or one song sung together and woven into one story. Saturn's presence is the shadow aspect of our world, thereby creating the shadow aspect of light reflecting off of objects. Yes, Saturn's presence is pretty much everywhere. Where you see darkness, that is Saturn's presence and his influence upon the lands. Our world is created as a threefold construct containing light, dark, and a combination of the two. A holy trinity, the sun, Iusis, and then the moon sphere, which is where man dwells. And then we have the Saturnian energy, which is El's energy. This is Isis, the moon, Ra, the sun, and El, Saturn's world. They are all one, which is why they're also all in a circle. Metatron's cube, the Greek origin is meta plus tron, meaning beyond matrix. Inside Metatron's cube, you can find every sacred geometrical shape existing on the universe. These three-dimensional shapes appear throughout all creation. They can be found hidden in plain sight in all that is, from nature to crystals to human DNA. They form the foundation of all physical matter, known as the Platonic solids. The timeless geometric codes underlie all things, displaying the parallels between seemingly disparate patterns to those who open their eyes to see. Plato's symbolism, these are the Platonic solids. Octahedron is air, tetrahedron is fire, cube is earth, and also Saturn. Icosahedron is water, dodecahedron is the universe or the ether itself. Here it is again, Plato's symbolism in the cube of Metatron. Platonic solids once more. The four-sided is the tetrahedron, which is a fire sign. Octahedron is an air sign. Hexahedron is Earth and Saturn. And then icosahedron is water. And then we have the 12-sided dodecahedron, which is space or the ether. The ether connects us to all things. As you can see, Saturn Satan is very much a part of our world, but there are those who are using sacred knowledge of mystical arts, alchemy, astrology, and more for their own personal agenda. Saturn's planetary metal is lead. Let's look at what items contain lead in our world. We have Saturn's planetary alchemy symbol of lead, and then we have a symbol for arsenic over on the left. The number one product containing lead, crude oil. All American man-made products are made from crude oil. What does crude oil have? Lead. Now, we make paint, lubricating oil, car care products, petroleum as fuel for machinery, jet fuel, pharmaceuticals, plastics, paraffin, naphtha, hydrocarbons, toys, clothing, hair products, vanity products, food chemicals such as artificial flavors, artificial colors, preservatives, and more. Pretty much everything we use today uses crude oil, which is lead, which is Saturn's. Fractional distillation crude oil. This is how crude oil is actually refined. So they take the substance of lead and they heat it to different temperatures, thereby extracting the poisonous substances from it. Now, here we go. Product gasoline, distillate fuel oil, kerosene, Coke. Isn't that interesting? They have Coke in here. Coke can be Coca-Cola or cocaine. So that is something to note, that actually pharmaceuticals come from this petroleum byproduct. So these are all the different things that they can extract from it. And of course, other is in here. Gasoline is actually the most used, but you get all these other things from it. Things made from oil, pretty much everything in our existence. Teflon pots and pans, yes, anything of plastics, containers, everyday items. We are surrounding ourselves with septic energy. Who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes of our world? Well, it's more than just the Saudis. There's a hidden hand with a hidden agenda that needs to be exposed. The Saudis live in a desert. The desert is because they suppress the divine feminine. When you suppress the divine feminine aspect of the human condition, It will thereby rend your lands into a desert wasteland, and thereby creating a very destructive force, which is all male energy, which is yang or fire principle. This man explains a lot about our world. Let's listen. Why did they make the earth spherical? We'll only talk from within the scientific boundaries. If we were to say that the earth was spherical, spherical earth has limited boundaries and continents. It's limited, but if we say that the earth is vastly flat spread, and the boundaries we know are the continents. But are there other people than us? Yes, there are other people than humans living on this earth. There's no such thing as the South Pole. It's the earth's sides. After the ice lies a great gate, and the great countries know of it. And the gate leads to a different land that has various civilizations. One of these civilizations is Gog and Magog, and for your knowledge, petroleum, the crude oil that exists in our lands, that's just their rivers. For them, that's running rivers. As it runs, it goes underground inside the earth until it reaches our lands. Petroleum isn't the remains of animals, bones, and dinosaurs, and such myths that people believe in, or the remains of ancient plants. No, petroleum is rivers in their lands, runs deep underground in the earth until it reaches our lands. Is that clear? He's speaking the truth. The plastics we use for food and water storage envelops food in toxic substances, which is then absorbed through the radionic fields of energy, thereby poisoning ourselves and our environment. We can't figure out why we're so sick, and yet we have not gained the eyes to see. People are being paid to operate in a manner for our own self-destruction. In order to see the problem, we must express the hidden aspects to bring forth truth. This entails dismantling fear and ignorance through practical means and creating better solutions for the problems we help co-create. Who are the perpetrators who are paving a way for our own self-destruction? Follow the money and find a path that leads to darkness, deception, greed, lust for power, and control of human consciousness. They are world leaders, politicians, attorneys, actors, doctors, and anyone in high-paying positions. Money has been used as a tool to lead humans astray from their virtues, values, and spiritual knowledge of self. The higher up you go on a pay scale, the closer you get to who's pulling the strings in the world. Many of the ones in high positions are collectively part of a cult called Cult of the Black Cube, where they worship the Dark Lord of Death, Saturn, better known as Satan, Lord of the Earth Plane. They are also known as members of the Dark Brotherhood, operated by the Hidden Hand, who work with powers of darkness to bring chaos, deception, death, and destruction to the world. Once the knowledge of their symbolism is obtained, you will be able to recognize their presence within society. Here is the Dark Brotherhood, the sign of the hand, the hidden hand. Then we have the symbol of alchemy for arsenic, which is very similar to the symbol for the Masonic Lodge. Then consequently, the atomic number for arsenic is 33, and its common uses are ammunition and poison. And here we have skull and bones. 322 equates to the number 7, which is Saturn's number. We have the occult members displaying proudly their association with death as they have some bones from one of the members of their order. The pirate flag, known as the Jolly Roger, is actually a symbol for this occult order of darkness, the Dark Brotherhood. They are pirates and they are upon the lands. They are using corporate law to enact their force and their will against the rest of us. When their laws do not apply to us, they operate under Admiralty Maritime Law of the Sea, and we operate under common law, which is law of the land. Saturn Matrix, the Black Cube. Here's Saturn symbolism in all of the different corporations around the world. And there are more than just these 4, as this is proudly displayed outside to mark their allegiance with this dark energy. Now, this is a death, symbol for death for alchemy, and the symbol for life is quite the opposite. You flip this upside down, it becomes a vessel. So this would be the water pouring from the vessel, which is also coincidentally the symbol for Om and the symbol for Omega. So ohms are used in electricity, electricity, and then Omega, of course, is a Greek letter. A sacrifice of life is a ritual to Saturn. So in Odorum Suavitatis is in sweet savor, where they're sacrificing a heart. It's burning on an altar that's attributed to Saturn because it is a cube shape. So Saturn's symbol is Om. His sound is Om. If you were to put This Om shape with the shape of life, which is life and death on top of each other connected, you would then have the symbol of Saturn. Black Sun Rising. So here's the Black Sun. This is just a book. It's obviously a fiction, but nevertheless, this person knows a little bit about occult knowledge, obviously. So this is the seal of Saturn that can be used and employed during the rituals to summon that dark energy. It is also being used in different ways in Hollywood to also bring about that information and that energy. You can see the Saturn symbol on the child's shirt, as well as the symbol for Saturn in between the different bars that are barring him from exiting. Again, more Saturn energy. Here's just a book, The Black Sun, The Alchemy and Art of Darkness. This is just proof that there are people in the world that have this gnosis. This is just a little excerpt. It doesn't describe all of the darkness of Saturn, but they always want to express the good things, you know. They don't want you to know about the Dark Brotherhood. So Saturn was a god in ancient Roman religion and a character in Roman mythology. He was described as a god of time, generation, dissolution, abundance, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation. Saturn's mythological reign was depicted as a golden age of abundance and peace, but within that is going to come not only the golden age, but it's a golden age within darkness. So it will have binding forces and energy. So here we go with the tree of life. There's love, peace, joy, gentleness, happiness, you know, the spirit of God, the unity consciousness. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, envy, jealousy, disharmony, strife, you know, all the lower things, the lower aspects, spirit of Satan. That's what this is about. The death cult of Saturn is merely the Son of God turned upside down, because a pentagram, when it's in its upright form, represents the human body. It is the mind and body connected to the four elements of alchemy. So when it's in its downward turned angles, it is for all of the lower intentions of man and his mind, desire, lust, sin, sex, all of the things of lower nature, of what they consider Saturnian or Satan nature. So the Saturn, shape of Saturn has this ring because it's the crown chakra. It's the keeper of time, Chronos. Modern day kings rule over the darkness instead of the light. And this is what they actually have to do because they have to challenge us to become better souls. The pirates of the high seas have become the pirates upon dry land. The black nobility are the Phoenicians. Whenever you see the word black, it is a reference to their alignment and their allegiance to Saturn. So the double-headed phoenix is of darkness. So basically what they do is they destroy things and then they rebuild a world based in that image of darkness. And two heads means that it's two different directions. It's looking in two different ways. It can mean many different things, but one of the things is deception. So it's like being two-faced. It's where we get the notion of two-faced. Your entire existence within organized society is owned by a group of people you know nothing about. All money is created into existence, sans oversight, by a small group of hidden men over which you have no power. Therefore, nothing is real. So these people create a story and everybody else follows it. That's the problem. We need to learn how to write our own story again. And this is how we begin our path of creation once more. Organized society isn't broken and needs fixing. It's working perfectly as the game of Monopoly, where all the players except one eventually go bankrupt. I would say there's actually a few families that are involved in this. Just a little excerpt regarding the activity of Satanists. Satanists were also openly celebrating the supermoon and the possibilities for satanic worship. One leading online devil worship site said, "There is more magical energy during a full moon and a new moon than there is at any other time, and this does benefit by increasing the energy force available. However, Satan nor demons are bound to full moon arrivals and are free to manifest as they desire, or you summon them. When you call a demon, it does not matter what phase the moon is in at that time. If you are sincere in your intention and approach, you will get results. I have witnessed it countless times. The calling of the blessed guests from hell should always be the first order of business when conducting a working. You need to establish the connection early so you can communicate your will and desires to your guests. As the energy is heightened, the being will connect with you and the ritual performed. When the events unfold, some new practitioners will become frightened. It is natural. After all, what they are witnessing for the first time is in direct conflict with their physical world. Even the new initiates who are excited about experiencing these manifestations will be taken aback when the event actually takes place. No amount of mental preparation will be adequate. Since the corporate food supply is owned and operated by Satanists, they are deciding what is best for consumers to eat. Bite Labs is working to produce artisan salami made from celebrity stem cells. These cured sausages contain about 30% human meat and 40% lab-grown animal meat. According to the company's official website, we mix celebrity and animal meats grown in-house through a proprietary culturing process into curated salami blends. Starting with biopsied myoblast cells, which are cancer cells, we grow our healthy, rich meats in Bite Labs' own bioreactors. They're healthy for dead people. A peer-reviewed paper suggests feasting on people results in numerous health benefits. Actually, it's against all of the laws of the light, and it will darken your light by consuming human flesh because it's cannibalism. This is a dark act and will lend you back down the scale of things, back down the ladder, the rung of growing your light back down into the darkness. However, one revolutionary food supplier is taking things a step further by selling human meat. Cannibalism is being featured in countless articles in an attempt to normalize the controversial subject. Human salami. As average citizens struggle to afford groceries due to rapidly rising inflation, a peculiar startup is presenting an unconventional remedy. Bill Gates is at it again. While Frankenfurters may seem like an obsolete business venture, many investors see a lucrative opportunity. Food distributing plant giants like Tyson have entered the edible biotech sector. Other powerful corporations, including Amazon, Virgin Group, and vaccine maker GlaxoSmithKline, are jumping on board. Computer nerd turned pandemic profiteer Bill Gates has funneled millions of dollars into synthetic meat industry. A blog post authored by the pseudo-philanthropist warns the transition is imminent and necessary to save the planet. Basically, they want to destroy all humans and save themselves because they're already possessed. Last year, the Microsoft tycoon essentially declared war on farmers by calling for a ban on naturally raised beef. Surely it has nothing to do with monopolizing the industry to protect his investments, right? A startup company aims to grow lab-grown meat made from human stem cells. Throughout the last decade, a deluge of unsettling articles has emerged from the mainstream media. News outlets such as the Washington Post, Business Insider, NPR, and Smithsonian Magazine are normalizing cannibalism. Simultaneously, over 100 food manufacturing plants have been destroyed by a mysterious surge in fires. Livestock animals around the world are dropping dead under suspicious circumstances. Corporations are corpse orations, as they represent dead legal fictions that are presenting themselves as our overlords. They operate by laws of the sea called maritime admiralty law, which do not apply to living beings upon the lands. That's common law. It seems our world has been overtaken by pirates who are aimed at controlling and also destroying all life. The four main tenets of the satanic mindset. I got this from somebody else's channel. Selfish egotism. The first tenet of Satanism is the dictum that self-preservation is the highest law. Put in other words, the survival and comfort of the physical self is always a more important goal than doing what is morally right. Live for yourself only and only care about you and yours. If you must step on others to get what you want, then so be it, for this is a dog-eat-dog world. The tenet that clearly defines the overarching worldview of Satanism is perpetual me thinking. Would you agree or disagree that the vast majority of individuals in our society subscribe to such a worldview? Moral relativism. Moral relativism is the ideology that there is no objective difference between right behavior and wrong behavior, so human beings may arbitrarily create or decide right and wrong for themselves based upon their whims and preferences. In other words, that which we consider right for ourselves is what is right, and that which we consider wrong for ourselves is what is wrong. Since according to the inherent and objective laws of morality, the aggregate amount of morality present in the lives of the people of any given society is directly proportional to the amount of freedom in that society. True freedom can never exist in a society that embraces moral relativism. Would you agree or disagree that this is the ideology in the world? Social Darwinism is the extension of the theory of Darwinian macrobiological evolution into human society. The proponents of Darwinian macrobiological evolution postulate the notion of the survival of the fittest animals, meaning that animals who are the most dominant will rule their social strata. Applied to the human domain, this theory puts forward the notions that, one, it is the natural order and even desirable for human society to be ruled by the most dominating and vicious humans, and two, that such humans' genes are the reasons they are acquired and maintain their positions of power. Would you agree or disagree that the vast majority of individuals in our society subscribe to this ideology? Eugenics and dysgenics. The word eugenics is derived from the Greek adjective eugenis, meaning well-born, which is in turn derived from Greek adjective eu, meaning good, and the Greek noun genus, meaning race or stock. Eugenics is a social ideology advocating the promotion of higher rates of sexual reproduction for people with traits and characteristics desired by its proponents and reduced rates of sexual reproduction and sterilization for those with undesired traits and characteristics. This tenet describes the ideology of Satanism taken to its ultimate conclusion. It goes something like this. Since man is God and he gets to make up what right and wrong are, and since it is simply the natural order for the most ruthless of humans whose genes are the fittest to rule the rest of the human herd, then that elite class of human beings in the highest positions of power in the world have every right to decide who is allowed to live and procreate and who must die. Sounds kind of like the ectolife pods. We have unknowingly been a part of their dark rituals to assist in bringing in the Saturnian energy of death. By employing our newly found awareness in ways that benefit humanity as a whole, we can therefore plant energetic seeds of change into the collective consciousness as we are always operating together as one mind, connected at all times. The darkness works by deceptive means, collecting souls for their dark cause, but we came to be the light to shine brightly and illuminate the darkness. Saturn is a god of contracts. Humans have inadvertently taken part in a great deception on Earth, and the Dark Lord works by getting people to consent to contract in exchange for material gain or some other ability or activity. What have you unknowingly or knowingly agreed to contract for? As we continue to progress into the future, Saturn is the machine. Saturn's energy is the cube shape and the blackness of the technology that we employ. But we also have to contract to use all these different apps, to have all of these different processes and programs. What are these contracts actually doing? They are like putting hooks into your spirit body. These hooks need to be actually eliminated before you leave this plane. That way you thereby release and relinquish all connections to Saturn's contracts between here and then, and throughout all space and time, forever bound in that regard, and you release it into the ether. As long as you can recognize that these are all hooks to trap your soul here in time and space, to regenerate time and time again, and reincarnate to be able to express the karma that you pay back for all of these contracts. In what ways have we been participants in this energy? By being blind to our connection to nature and all things, and thereby creating a great disconnect to the natural world. A lack of consideration of life is a lack of consideration for oneself. We are one with all things. All is mind, the universe is mental, the Kabbalion. By placing the value of the man-made material world over the intrinsic value of life forms in nature, blindly following with a herd mentality without questioning what our own actions and involvement may affect. By continually following patterns that are not sustainable and will eventually come back to affect us, not just with food, but things such as selling our dwellings and material items for more than we need. It creates a new level of pricing that eventually becomes unattainable, thereby forcing us out of our own existence in society. By supporting the corporations that do not use sustainable practices that support life, we thereby support death and disease. By ignoring the suffering of others, by ignoring our own suffering and enslavement within a septic system that was not intended for us to be truly free. By consuming dead flesh, dead plants, dead water, breathing toxic air, consuming toxic chemicals, wearing toxic fabrics, living in a toxic environment, purchasing toxic products. Essentially, we live in a toxic wasteland because the list goes on and on. Remember, Saturn's energy has everything to do with death, dying, sickness, disease, discomfort, and anything black. Light supports life. Darkness supports death and disease. Darkness is also considered a lack of knowledge. Here's a little thing. You can write money on a piece of paper in all capital letters, then flip it and look at it in a mirror, and it'll spell venom. The smooth, balanced flow of chi, your life force energy, is the single most important determinant to your health, vitality, and happiness. This is what it looks like when you emit emotions when you're looking through a thermal camera. All of the emotions are generally emanating from the heart, and it will warm the body and illuminate the body as it begins to manifest. So in Kirlian photography, we can see the light that is being emitted from different food items. When items are cooked, or as you can see with conventional foods, there's not as much light. The light is dimmer than that is organic. Where are we in time? This is the Yuga cycles, and we are in the Kali Yuga. We are down in the lower aspect of this waveform. We are probably 1/3 of the way into the Kali Yuga, in what's known as the Iron Age. It is the dark iron winter. It is cold, dark, and we have iron blood, which is red. As we progress through the ages, our blood will thereby change, illuminating our frequency and our consciousness in the same token. So in the Western astrology, we have the timeline discussed here in between Pisces and Aquarius, where we're on the cusp of the two ages, going into the age of Aquarius, where the Saturnian energy rules. This is a scythe that represents Saturn. We are leaving the age of Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. And so thereby the energy is going to be of air. This is going to be the stage, which is set, which is air energy, which is mind energy. That's why we're using this technology right now. And Saturn is going to be the dark lord that chases us throughout this entire age. And then once we get to Capricorn, we hit more Saturnian energy. And I do state and claim that the Capricorn is going to be the rise of the hybrids. So we will see more hybrid beings that are half human and half animal, and also land and water beings as well that are mixed. Oligarchs are practitioners of occult arts and masters of black magic that is used against others. We all embody the same attributes through energetic principles, and the knowledge of how to manipulate our world has been held back from the world population in order to control society. The world as a whole is becoming more polarized for us to recognize the light and dark forces not only outside ourselves, but also within. We each have free will to choose which side we wish to master by feeding the good or bad, love or hate, light or dark within ourselves. This moment of great awakening is about self-realization and how our actions can affect others and how we can consciously contribute in ways that benefit the whole. Now let's look at the diagram shown in another slide with more elevated awareness. Here it is, the Brotherhood of Light and Darkness. As expressed in the Rosicrucian diagram on the right, you can see the different rings of energy. So the light shines down from above, down onto the darkness, thereby creating what is known as Earth. It is also known as Midgard, which is in the middle. It's the heart. It is Earth. Earth is in the heart. So the H is at the end of the word. And when you say Earth, you put the H on the front, it becomes heart. As above, so below, man is the measure of the universe. All of these different astrological signs that you see here from the zodiac, they are actually alchemy processes that can be found within and without the body. So outside the body, these are found in the processes of nature. When you become an alchemist and begin to use these different applications on how to extract essences and get to the basic forms, these are the alchemy symbols that are used to determine those different phases. So we go through the different astrological ages to hone through alchemy the soul. It's just like honing a sword. So Dante's model in Dante's Divine Comedy, it includes hell. These are the different spheres of energy that imbibe us at all times. These are the rings of Saturn. He is Lord of the rings because all of the other rings are included within his influence. That's Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon. These are all the things that are within Saturn's realm of influence because it's part of the physical form. It's the 7 rays of heavenly light that shine down to sing their song and make us into form. And then there are these 7 rays of light in the visual spectrum. And also they are connected to the 7 chakras, which are the energy centers, the main energy centers in the physical body. And so they are honored by the 7 days of the week. Now, this is the microcosmic orbit of energy that surrounds us at all times. It's also known as the auric field. These are the different fields of light frequency that are emitted from these different planetary bodies. And we are all connected because we are the universe. Let's look at where we're all going with embracing the technology that is being used as a means of control. The future plans are to trap people's minds and thereby their souls in time and space. What is scrying? Divination with mirrors, crystals, water, and fire. Basically, black mirrors are typically used in black magic. And to find out more about the future of humanity, just go watch the series Black Mirror that is on Netflix. It's literally telling you everything about their intentions of what the future is going to hold. What is WorldCoin? Here it is, the digital eye that's going to actually imbibe all mankind. They're doing iris scans now and palm scans. They're also doing facial scans. And all of this information, your biometrics, is going into one machine. What's the machine doing? It's using your visage to create more of you. It wants to know you. It wants to become you. It wants to live your life for you. WorldCoin and universal basic income, we're basically talking about NESARA GESARA, as all debt forgiveness shall become worldwide, and their rule of darkness will come online, literally. The queen, before she, apparently she died, the real queen died, but then the fake queen announced the Jubilee. That means all debt forgiveness. They had to have somebody do it because it's coming. Basically, the Vatican Royal Crown Alliance stepped down and went back into the shadows while the new world order comes online and takes its position in power. And that will be the ones who speak the Semitic languages, which are Semitic languages. And they're using China as a means of control, the design for the rest of the world. Here we are with the digital eye again. You can see that they are in full motion of bringing this technology out and into our world. It is going to be the logo for the new standard, essentially. The all-seeing eye is now becoming the digital eye. And so here we go. This is a person who is experimenting with the technology outside of the body, but he has a thing that's actually surrounding his iris. And as he blinks, it has different functions. There's actually in this little video that I had a screenshot of, he had a little light blinking next to his eye. I'm like, that's sick, but that's also the exact same stuff that they show you in the series Black Mirror. Yes, this is their intention. Yes, the underworld is now ruling on top of Earth plane. Neuralink, here we go with some symbolism. Aquarius, of course, is an air sign, but it has these 2 little waveforms that symbolize frequencies. It is also used in Dogon tradition as a symbol of water. Just one little line, like squiggly line like this, means water. And around the world, it means water, but 2 little lines, I guess, means frequency. So this is the symbol for arsenic in alchemy. It's just a straight line. And as you can see, you flatline when you're in the hospital and it's a destructive interference. So flatline means death, right? So here we have Neuralink's symbol. And of course, they're telling us everything in symbolism. This is why symbolism is so important. So Neuralink has a straight line, and then it has these 2 sine waves that don't even match. A normal sine wave will have even curves. This one has one tall curve and then one short curve. that goes down and up very quickly. So basically what they're saying is that when things are in phase, it's a basic waveform that has gentle curves and just flows. When you have two things that are flowing against each other, the two sine waves that are opposing, it's out of phase and it's actually a destructive force. So basically what they're saying is that this is a destructive force that will equate to death on some level. So they're bringing about the world of darkness. Elon Musk wants to hook your brain up directly to computers. We already know this. Musk's Neuralink startup aims to connect brains to the web starting next year. They're already doing it. They've already had their first few test subjects. And of course, it's fully operational. They've been practicing this stuff for eons underneath the ground. So this is not new technology. It's only new for the ones who are in positions of power, who are taking their positions on the world stage to learn about darkness. And the darkness is going to teach them some hard lessons. So this article right here was in 2019. Here we are in 2024. And of course, yeah, they've already used this material. So this machine right here is called the Scorpion machine, and it will inject the microchip into the back of your brain. So you lay face down on the medical bed, and this thing will do its magic, and it'll inject this into your brain. And it will connect to all the neural network that they have been injecting into people since, the 2020 lockdown. And the stuff that they're spraying in the sky and the stuff they're putting in the food, all of this stuff is starting to grow and connect inside of us. We need to detox as much as possible to try to get the stuff out. So Starlink is all a part of this. So is SpaceX. Space is right here. X is key. X is also Earth. Earth was known as Ki a long time ago during Kemet's day. It was called Ki, Ki, for spirit alchemy. So Ki is also X, planet X. Planet X is a distortion of our reality, of what we know in the known world with life. They are going to distort the Ki in this different epoch era that we're going into with the age of Aquarius. It's going to be a distortion of life. So Starlink is a part of that. And through symbolism, all you got to do is follow the symbolism. And there's no coincidences with all these X's out here. They're telling you a story through symbols. So X is planet X. X is also the symbol for Starlink, and also SpaceX. They're telling you that this is a great reset, and it's also to do with the Ki energy. They are going to take over the Ki. This has been the ultimate goal of the underworld for so very long, because this is what happens during the age of Aquarius, apparently. The underworld gets to rule this world, and it takes over human consciousness, essentially. It wants to be a living being because it cannot in any other form. It can only do so in an artificial state, because remember, they were given the punishment by being sent to the underworld and locked down there. But greedy men bent on dominating this physical existence wanted those secrets. And so thereby they worked with the jinn to release all of these entities. And now the entities have tricked humans like they always do, because humans are fallible. They're always, wanting power or money or fame or something. So they sell out to these entities that are tricksters. And the tricksters come upon the earth every time. And in order to learn our lessons, we all have to go through this suffering. So that's what's coming. Biometrics are body measurements and calculations related to human characteristics. Biometric authentication is used in computer science as a form of identification and access control of the human genome, control of the human mind, body, and spirit. It is also used to identify individuals and groups that are under surveillance. So basically, we're all being surveilled for this control. As you can see, it's all the biometrics of palm scanning, iris scanning, facial scan, and eventually it will go inside the physical body. Are chemtrails real? Here's what experts have said. So this is basically about the different nanoparticulates that they've been spraying in the sky. So the chemtrail idea has been around since 1996 and is largely rooted in an Air Force research paper from the same year, Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025.
Yes, there is an agenda. It is to get all life trapped in the Antichrist system. And that's what they're doing. They're spraying all these chemicals in the air. It is actually elevating the fire principle, which is the sun. The sun is fire. It equates to fire because it is light. And the light also heats this existence. So, what they are now doing is throwing metal particulates that equate to more fire to amplify the fire principle of the sun that is now burning and scorching the earth. Because as they make it rain with these chemicals, they thereby push the particulates further into the ground, thereby scorching the earth, and it's killing the soil biology, which is having an effect on all the plant life. The ground is becoming too dry to hold any moisture, so the rain just when it rains, it goes through the soil, and the next day it's completely dry again. And it's so hard and barren that you can't even dig through it with a shovel. And this is what this fire principle is doing. So, in order to combat this, we need to just employ the principle of yin. We need to bring back the yin principle into the earth and water so that thereby it will like balance out the fire principle that they are amplifying. This is all alchemy, and we can learn the foundations of this reality and how to use them if we just study the yin and yang and the basic four elements of alchemy. Smart dust, a system of many tiny micro electromechanical systems such as sensors, robots, other devices that can detect, for example, light, temperature, vibration, magnetism, or chemicals, and operated on a computer network wirelessly. This is smart dust that is actually being released into the atmosphere right now. They have been mass producing this because this is part of GO. What is called GO is the graphene oxide agenda. And there is online, if you look up GO, the G.O. dot, and graphene oxide, you can find the agenda online and know that this is like they're just throwing it out there as quickly as possible because the Great Awakening is here and they're trying to stop it. The system of control that is surrounding us is the Antichrist system that supports soulless life, aka robotics and cybernetics. We co-create their intentions by participating within their realm of control. Saturn's aspects. We're going to go over the planetary Saturn aspects. Saturn symbol is a scythe to basically harvest souls. He takes away, he's banishing, binding, he's timed, cycles, limitations, obstacles, boundaries, no, strict discipline, karma. Disillusion, decomposition, death, colored black, father, authority, the boss, cold, serious, patient, structure, organization. These are the things we're supposed to learn is patience, structure, and organization. He works in cycles, life and death cycles, the circle, physical structure, limitations, obstacles, boundaries, the limit of physical binding. This is why all of this technology is coming about. We are going to be limited in space and time as to what we can or cannot do. Here's our lesson in radionics because everybody needs to know this. Radionics is a science used to manipulate radiating fields of energy. All forms of matter radiate with light frequencies, thereby creating energetic waveforms that move through the atmosphere. An experiment to sense the transfer of invisible fields of energy is to place a bottle of perfume with a food item in the same enclosed space for 3 or more days. After tasting the food item, you will notice that now tastes like the perfume. This is due to the nature of unseen radiating fields of energy emanating from various objects. Now go and have a look at your pantry and refrigerator with new awareness. How are your food items arranged? Do you keep chemicals near your foods? Are your foods surrounded by plastics? What about your physical form? Is it covered with synthetic fabrics or materials? This is Saturnian, if it is. But here, these are solutions that you can actually learn. So a paper radionics machine, this is how you can manifest things that you need in your reality, especially things that might benefit others as well. Because as you help others, you are thereby helping yourself. There is a website where you can go and download this little diagram. It's the consciousnessproject.blogspot.com. Go there and it'll give you all the instructions on how to use this paper radionics machine. Radionics are also known as sigil magic. Radionics works with 2D designs drawn on a surface and also the shapes that make up the construction of your home or surrounding environment. Most homes are comprised of rectangle doorways, windows, walls, and rooms, but these can be altered to change the radiating energy by painting a different shape that is connected to the original one. An example would be to paint an arch over a doorway or window, or place round objects within the corners of a room. Anything to restructure the energy of a cube form that may dominate your environment. A suggestion would be to make more round objects in your physical space. Round equates to more of a feminine energy, and especially if you create something known as Vesica Pisces, where it's basically two overlapping circles, which we will see in just a moment. I will show you that little diagram, but it basically, you want to create a different energy besides just a cube shape. And it will affect these fields of frequency around in your home and in your environment. And it will then elevate that energy to a more living energy as opposed to a dead energy. So this is the golden mean. And these were principles that were applied during the ancient days of old. The old people knew, the people of the old days knew the secrets of the universe. Ancient ones knew that architectural designs harness unseen forces of alchemy through radionic fields of energy, which are light frequencies. This is why they employed all these ornate designs. And especially, with doorways, they would typically have an arch of some kind, or just a rounded top instead of just a square or cube as we have today. When applying radionics to your home, think in terms of sacred geometric patterns that will alter a cube form. The Masons building in this Romanesque Norman time period were certainly more than familiar with the geometry of the pointed arch. This is what's known as Vesica Pisces. So with radionics, these fields of energy, these lines that they've created, will actually continue to create the shape that they imbibe. This would be a circle. So it would actually create an invisible field of energy that is in the shape of a sphere. And then the circles that are interlocking, this then creates the Vesica Pisces shape, which is kind of the shape of the eye. But the Vesica Pisces also it represents the vulva of a woman, which means it creates in its form. It's also representing of the splitting of two cells as it becomes life. So the golden ratio is a process that was employed by the ancients, and it was a practice of dividing things into thirds so that way it would benefit, it would put out a beneficial energy for all, and it supports life. It's known as the golden mean or golden ratio. As you can see, they have buildings that were amazing in their structures and brought in specific kinds of energy. Possible solutions for these problems. Knowledge is power. It is the ultimate power. Through knowledge comes liberation and enlightenment, more light, raising awareness of our participation in their dark rituals, using more products made from natural materials, employing sustainable practices, burning combustible trash. Fire reduces everything to its base component, which is carbon. We have been lied to about burning our own trash. That includes plastics. Plastics will burn back down to carbon. Do not worry about the gases that come off of it. Remember, we are inside Saturn's realm. And the love of nature, the love of the trees and the natural world of Venus will take care of all of that darkness. It feeds off of darkness. This is why we need to focus on Venus again. Venus is love, but the green color is also the love frequency, which is why plants are green. And remember, it's the heart. It is earth. Composting food waste to reestablish soil nutrients. Plant life feeds off of death. This is important to know. We can just throw our dead things out in the yard. I compost with all the dead plants, and the vegetable garden loves it. Learning biodynamic farming techniques to increase soil integrity. Rudolf Steiner was a master at this, and they teach this in biodynamic.org. They teach you biodynamic farming techniques. Learning basic alchemy through the study of yin and yang, which is the art of Tao. This basic knowledge will allow one to see answers to many problems. creating different fields of energy by applying knowledge of radionics and radiating frequencies, bringing more love and joy into yourself and thereby affecting others. The things on my channel, there is a video that is also associated with all of this stuff about Saturn. The Go Alien Agenda video that I have on my channel, I recommend everyone watch. If you haven't already, please do, because it is all about the graphene oxide agenda. Visit my channel for more illumination and things you may have never thought of. Possible solutions again, your voice is light. Declaring your intentions reverberates throughout the cosmos, creating with the light of your God consciousness. Renouncing and rescinding all contracts before you leave Earth has effects and dimensions we cannot see. I cancel any and all contracts, agreements, bindings, documents, alliances, allegiances, written, verbal, and nonverbal commitments with any and all persons, places, and beings who are not an energetic match with me, my life purpose, and my soul purpose. Ultimately, this is our story, the one story we sing together as a world collective while we traverse the cycles of the wheel of time that present themselves over and over in the same manner. Without darkness, we would not comprehend how much light we can emit. This is the ultimate takeaway from every experience we ever have. We can also master the art of nonconformity together by learning to create our own story again. And that is the end of my display. So I'll see you guys on the next one.